Hello everyone and welcome back to another lore episode for Shadow of Mordor. So we're actually going to be going through the lore entries in this one, starting with Ithilien. Ithilien, also called Star Moon, are ancient symbols that can be found carved into the living stone and ruins of Mordor. They are relics of an ancient kingdom invisible to all but the Wraith, who can see into the unseen world. The Wraith within Talion can view and activate these symbols of power. More to the point, he feels a distinct connection with them. They are relics of his past. Mirian, the thing that we've been collecting to upgrade our character. These coins were minted by the elven smiths of Eregion, and Mirian became the currency of that realm, prized throughout Middle-earth. As with the Ithilien, with which they marked their doors, Mirian was wrought from mithril, which they traded with the dwarves for. The currency would commonly be traded between the races at locations such as the Market of Khazad-dûm. To honor the dwarves, Mirian pieces featured Durin's door on one side and its great forge on the other. In the Second Age, the Dark Lord Sauron relentlessly sought the destruction of Mirian, and now the coins are supreme, rare relics of a long-dead kingdom. The runes. Behold the runes. Elvish smiths detail their great deeds and commemorate the triumphs of long-dead warriors with these enigmatic and powerful markings. The smiths employ arcane craft to create their runes, recording the final fate of their enemies within the metallic compound Ithilien and attaching them to their armor, blades, and great bows. In this way, the elves create and cast a unique legend for their fabled weapons. This legend will grow with each great deed. The Uruks will come to know weapons adorned by them in name, as they have Glamdring and Orcrist. Orcrist? I'm not sure, probably Orcrist. And to fear its great power. Mordor. The land of shadow, and the home of the second Dark Lord of Middle-earth, Sauron. Mordor beckons to spirits and calls dark things to its twisted heart. It is home to many monstrous creatures, among them Caragors, Graugs, and the Ungul, monsters neither the Orcs nor the Dark Lord have tamed. Its burning heart, Orodurin, currently lays dormant. It has been still for thousands of years. Sauron's fortress, Barad-dur, has not been fully razed, and is cloaked from sight by a dark shroud. Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Anyway, the Uruks have seized all of Mordor from the Black Gate to Nurn, hundreds of miles to the south. Many innocent people have been trapped within, with little hope of escape. Poor people. Mourn. The Black Gate of Mordor is a formidable defensive structure that spans the gap between Mordor's Ered Lithui, or the Ash Mountains, and the Apel Duath, Mountains of Shadow. It has, alternatively, protected Mordor from Gondorian invasion and Gondor from Mordor. Its walls are built of stone that are impregnable. The magnificent structure was created during the Second Age by the Dark Lord Sauron's forces using the power of the One Ring. Later, after Sauron's defeat at the Battle of Dagorlad, the Gondorians used prison labor to construct the towers of the Teeth, Narcost, and Carcost on either side of the Great Wall. Rangers of Gondor manned the gate for over 2,000 years, but their numbers have declined dramatically since the Great Plague. So the Gondorians are the ones who actually built those tall towers on the sides. Okay. According to this game, I'm not sure if that's actual lore or not, but Udun. The Valley of Udun is a harsh and unaccommodating land used primarily as a way station for armies with ambitions to breach Mordor or attack from it. The sprawling land was once populated by Gondorian outcasts, but is now commanded by the Uruks. Udun is bounded by the Black Gate in the north and the Iron Jaws of Carak Angren to the south, defended by the reoccupied stronghold Durthang and cut by the imposing Black Road leading to the fortress ruins of Barad-dur, where the Dark Lord has retreated after his defeat by the White Council at Dol Guldur. A lot of names I don't think I've actually read out loud before. Orodurin. Orodurin, better known as Mount Doom, is the greatest volcano in Middle-earth and is the fiery heart of Sauron's realm. It was in the Samath Naur, Chambers of Fire, within the mountain that Sauron forged the One Ring to dominate all of Middle-earth, and this is the only place where it can be unmade. Orodurin has been dormant since the One Ring was cut from Sauron's hand on its very slopes. It will once more burst into flame when Sauron has rebuilt his power in the ruins of Barad-dur. Okay. Let's learn about Barad-dur. Barad-dur, the Dark Tower, has lain in ruin since it was cast down by Gondor after Sauron's defeat at the end of the Second Age. However, as long as Sauron survives, the foundations of Barad-dur can never be destroyed. It is to these ruins that Sauron has retreated since his return to Mordor. Hidden behind a sorcerous veil, he has begun to rebuild his power for the Great War of the Ring to come. Known as the Lord of the Rings trilogy or the Lord of the Rings books. Carak-ongrin. The iron jaws of Carak-ongrin are formed by spurs from Mordor's Ered Lithwi and its Epel Duath, the solitary gateway between the valley of Udun to the north and the plateau of Gorgoroth to the south. This pass has been heavily modified to augment its defenses, and its Black Road has been dramatically widened to prepare for the Dark Lord's armies. Under Uruk's supervision, slaves at Carak-ongrin have constructed the Gorthuar, an impressive towering stone and steel monument to Sauron, when paying homage to the Dark Lord's past and celebrating his inevitable victory over the kingdoms of men. And knocked down by Talion, yeah. It is a cool statue. I mean, what it represents is not cool, but it does look cool. A mere glance at the Gorthuar is sufficient enough to instill dread in any human. This is more than an ostentatious representation of the Dark Lord Sauron's power. It is a statement of intent and a supernatural expression of his presence. A giant stone-carved Sauron, magnificently clad in armor, holds in his hands chains to which are tethered the subjugated kings of men. Gorthuar radiates contempt and power. Sauron's will built the statue just as it restored him to power after his defeat by Gil-galad and Elendil. Look upon me and despair, Gorthuar commands. That'd be kind of cool if it said that. Like, it's just on repeat. There's a speaker up near the head, just says that all day. Uruk's Hollow. Before Sauron's return, Uruk's Hollow was a seasonal market town known to the outcast as the Slabs. Now it has become a slave camp where Sauron's army gathers captured men to be processed before being transported to work sites throughout Mordor. Only the strongest survive their incarceration in the Hollow, and those that die, due to rampant starvation, disease, and abuse, become meat for the Uruk Sawbones or the Mordor rats that share their cages. Sawbones are those doctors we talked about yesterday. Despite the grave hardships of life in the Hollow, the prisoners have not lost all hope as stories have begun circulating of a vengeful spirit who strikes terror into their oppressors and helps the outcast to escape hell that Mordor has become, aka Talion. The Black Road. Mordor's central highway, the Black Road, runs from the Black Gate through the valley of Udun, intersects the Gorgoroth Plains, and terminates at the edge of the Sorcerer's Veil protecting the fortress of Barad-dur. Since its construction in the Second Age, the Black Road has functioned primarily as a passageway for Middle-earth's many invading or retreating armies. The road is back again under Orcish control and, as ominous portent, being widened by the enslaved people of Udun to support the Dark Lord's growing armies. That's cool. Barad-dur. Nothing is known about these enigmatic ruins' creation or destruction, save for the haunted visions of the wraith possessing the doomed ranger Talion. These towers are familiar. The eternal enemy, time, has cloaked their purpose, obscured their forms, and made a distant memory of their creators. Until such time as their origins are uncovered, we can only classify these ruined monoliths as Barad-dur, the Towers of Starlight. Unseen, they are shadows of Mordor's distant, violent past, reflecting memories of the lost elvish land Eregion. The Barrows. The Uruks will not admit to feeling fear, but they avoid the Barrows. They believe these caverns to be haunted by the vengeful dead, the spirits of men and elves slain at the Battle of Dagolad. The truth is not so far from their suspicion. Because these caverns are avoided by the Uruks, they make an ideal refuge for the outcasts of Udun, and the Barrows are the headquarters of their leader Hirgon. They are connected to a series of caves which lead out of Mordor, emerging on the other side beneath the Black Gate. It is through here that the outcast can hope to escape from Mordor and reach the freedom of Minas Tirith. I wonder if that's a real place in the lore, the actual lore of Lord of the Rings. Because I don't remember hearing about them. Barad-dur. Barad-dur was built by the forces of Gondor immediately after the defeat of Sauron at the end of the Second Age. Its purpose was to watch over the Sea of Nurn and to deter invading fleets traveling up the Gurthrant River from the south. It was abandoned when the Great Plague of TA 1636 struck from the east, and the retreating soldiers carried the plague home with them to Osgiliath. The garrison never recovered, and the abandoned fort was occupied by the Corsairs of Umbar and renamed the Maw of Hope. It then became a base of operations for piracy and corsair raids into Ithilien and Khand. Over time, the raiders settled down to fish and farm the fertile lands of Nurn and became the tribesmen. Durthang. A Gondorian stronghold built in Udun after the defeat of Sauron by the Last Alliance. Durthang stood watch over Karak Angren and the lands beyond it. Rangers posted at the garrison patrolled Udun for more than 1,000 years, but attrition, invading Easterlings, and the Great Plague weakened their ranks. Eventually, the stronghold became impossible to hold. It was abandoned in the Third Age of Middle-earth in TA 1640, and, since Sauron's return, has been taken over by the Uruks as a military fortress. Nurn. Looks like a hospitable place. To outsiders, Mordor is often perceived as a dead realm, but this is not the case. Its southern region, Nurn, is fertile enough to feed the Dark Lord's numberless hordes. Its soil has been enriched by ash from Urudrian's eruptions, and its grasslands are fed by water from the Sea of Nurn. Many of Mordor's beasts reside in Nurn, among them Graugs, Caragors, ghouls, hellhawks, and a host of other nameless horrors. The land was once the domain of tribesmen under the rule of Lady Marwyn, Queen of the Shore. Now the Uruks rule, but the few remaining free tribesmen refuse to admit defeat and mount whatever small resistance they can against their oppressors. Starting to struggle in the middle there. The Sea of Nurn. Natives claim Mordor's inland sea is haunted. Water from Nurn irrigates crops, but since the Dark Lord's return, it has become bitter and undrinkable to men. Nurn fisheries harvest strange, beaked abominations that howl in the nets. Sailors who worked the trade routes before the Uruks captured Nurn speak of a multi-tentacled horror powerful enough to capsize and destroy the great slave barges the Uruks used to transport their captives. Really? A multi-tentacled horror. Huh. Like an octopus? On the banks of Nurn, the fortress city of Thaurband operates as a city of slaves. Uruks process their captives there before shipping them to sites across Mordor and beyond. Trying to recognize... Oh, okay, yeah. No, this is the entire land. I was thinking this was just a piece of it, but no, yeah, off to the right is that one fortress, and then far off down there is where you start. There's the fortress kind of in the middle now, and then there's the fishery now in the middle. I think, right? Yeah. Okay, anyway, sorry. Ered Glemhoth. Ered Glemhoth, evil host, is a place of great horror, even to the evil inhabitants of Mordor. The Uruks and the children of Shelob avoid the haunted passes of these mountains. It is here that the Tower of Sauron has made his fortress, and the land around echoes with the screams of the living and dead alike. Ugh. The Nurn fishery. Oh, that thing. Okay. The Uruks have seized the Nurn fishery, expanding it to better feed their massive armies. Although the Uruks do not yet understand the scope of their offense, the men of Nurn do. They speak of the Watcher, a demon of the sea, a furious spirit that will broke no intrusion into its waters, and will suffer no defilement of its home. In time, the Watcher will rise up in anger, churn the waters with massive tentacles, and lash out with a razor-toothed mouth at those who would defile the Sea of Nurn. The fishery has been destroyed before. That thing is much larger than the one you see in the Lord of the Rings book, or sorry, movie. Fort Mourn. Which one is this? Okay, so this is the fort, yeah, in Nurn. Okay. Fort Mourn is the hub of the main trading route of southern Mordor, connecting Thorbrand in the west with Nargroth to the north and the Eastern Guard along the Khand Road. It is a staging post for the slaves building Sauron's war machine, and also holds the food to feed Mordor's growing armies. Okay. The Rings of Power. 3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne. In the land of Mordor where the shadows lie, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. A saying we have all heard before if you watch Lord of the Rings or read the books. I like that that's in here, though. The One Ring was forged for a single purpose, to give its lord dominion over Middle-earth. It is an obscene expression of the Dark Lord Sauron's will to power. The One Ring was forged at Orodrian by Sauron and perfected by his captive, the Elven Lord Celebrimbor. Sauron invested much of his power into the One Ring, and Celebrimbor, unbeknown to the Dark Lord, gave it a will of its own. The One Ring was used to destroy the elvish realm of Eregion. It raised the Black Gate and Barad-dur. Its wielder seemed indomitable until Isildur cut the One Ring from the hand of Sauron at Dagorlad. It has been missing for more than 2,000 years. Now, it wants to be found. You know, it's had its break for 2,000 years. Now it's like, you know what? I'm totally okay with being found again. And I think that's it. That's the lore. We've already been through the artifacts. We've already been through that and during the game. So, okay. That's all the lore in this game. Alright, so thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the lore. And I will see you all next time. Take care.